Session, regular meeting of the Township Council is called to order. In accordance with Section 5 of the Open Public Meeting Act, Chapter 231, Public Law 1975, be advised that adequate notice of this work session, regular meeting of the Township Council of the Township of Franklin, County of Somerset, was made by the posting on the bulletin board at the municipal complex and transmitted to the officially designated newspapers, a list of dates annually, indicating that this work session regular meeting would take place at the Franklin Township Municipal Complex at 7 o'clock p.m. on Monday, November 10th, 2014. In addition, a copy of this notice has been available to the public, is on file in the office of the municipal clerk. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Remain standing for the invocation, which will be given by Councilman Brian Regan.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. O God, the Creator and Redeemer of all the faithful, hear our prayer, and through your infinite love and mercy, graciously grant us the strength and power in our thoughts and our decisions to be for the benefit of all people at all times. Amen.
Madam Clerk, please call the roll of the council.
Councilman Chase.
Here.
Councilwoman Francois.
Here.
Councilman Kramer.
Here.
Mayor Levine.
Here.
Councilman Prasad.
Here.
Deputy Mayor Regan.
Here.
Councilwoman Sherman.
Here.
Councilman Vasanella. Councilman Wright.
Okay, thank you very much. We are following along on our agenda, which you can find by our clerk, Ms. McCarthy, along with associated resolutions and ordinances. And you can usually find them the weekend before the meeting on our website, where you can look at the agenda, know what we're going to be discussing. And if you click on the ordinances and resolutions, you can see the full thing coming out in front of you, too. We are now at item number 5 on the agenda, commendations, proclamations. We do not have any for the meeting, so we go to item number 6, Mayor's Report. So here's my mug for today. It's Harry Potter, and usually I try to make the mugs like societal, symbolic, commentary. This one is personal, because my time as mayor has been quite magical. It's my time on the council, so that's indulge me in my personal stuff. And usually I don't comment on elections or results or my myself certainly, but I've had a lot of questions raised about succession of mayor. So as of next year, January, I'll be a Somerset County freeholder, so in December or January I will resign as mayor. So two things I'm asked is, first, what's a freeholder? Okay. I'm not sure yet. I say it's like a mayor and council for the county. The other thing is, so what happens with the mayor? Who becomes the mayor? So I'm going to ask our attorney, Mr. Ainone, and local expert to give us an explanation of how that will proceed.
As you know, Mayor, we've gone through this a number of times, and the process for replacing you once your seat becomes vacant is the same as with any member of council. And the law provides that because you were elected as a candidate from a political party, that no later than 15 days following the vacancy, the Republican committee in Franklin will have to submit 3 names to the council for their consideration for your replacement. Should they fail to submit the names within 15 days, the council would then be free to pick somebody not on that list. And they are required to submit 3 names. If they submitted less than 3, the council would then be free to pick anybody. So that generally is the process. So the timing of it all will depend on when it is that your seat becomes vacant. Assuming it becomes vacant on January 1st, then prior to the 15th of January, the Republican Committee will have to submit names to the clerk. Within 30 days of the vacancy, which would be before the 30th of January, the council would then have to pick a replacement.
Okay, thank you very much for that.
You're welcome.
I
Okay,
have a follow-up question to
Oh.
the
yeah, Councilman Prasad,
township
please.
attorney.
Yes, sir.
Is there any law that says you can't hold two offices?
I believe that there is, actually. I think that, I
Just
think
wanted
that there's
that
a dual office
clarification.
holders law that says that you cannot be a freeholder and a member of a municipal governing body at the same time. And likewise for
Assembly.
legislators. Correct. Same law, I believe.
Okay.
Well, that's true. It was grandfathered for anybody who held both of those offices at the time that that it went into effect, but it's now been 5 or 6 years, but certainly for new office holders.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. And our, in just a few moments, we're going to have public discussion where members of the public can speak about anything that is on his or her mind. There'll be a second time to speak, but that's only on a specific ordinance dealing with planning and zoning. So if you want to speak of anything of a general nature, that's going to be in a few moments. We're glad to hear what is on your mind. Our meetings are generally the second and fourth Tuesdays of the month. Exceptions are in the summer. July, August is the first Tuesday only, not the second. And in December is the second Tuesday, and not the fourth. It's running into the holidays. However, the second Tuesday of this December, there's going to be a special election put up by the Board of Education. So our meeting is that Thursday, then, in the month. And also, today is an exception. This is being done on Monday instead of Tuesday, because Tuesday is Veterans Day this year, so we're doing it today. So, some things that happened recently, we had, this is very fascinating. The New Brunswick area NAACP had their annual Freedom Fund event. It was actually held here in town. New Brunswick area encompasses Middlesex, Somerset counties. And I was there, and I was there representing us. Their guest of honor was Sarah Collins Rudolph in the 1963 bombing of a church, which a couple decades later, people were finally prosecuted for. 4 young students were killed. She was the 5th student, which most of us didn't know existed. She was there, she was injured, she lost her eye, and she was flown up from Alabama just to be at this event. So I was honored to meet her there, and she spoke a little bit, very inspiring. So also in the, I got her picture, putting it up on my Facebook page. This election just passed. Congratulations to all those who ran, those who won, those who didn't win, because I feel everyone was trying to make a difference for the better, so I appreciate that. And Veterans Day is approaching. Be thankful, and we all should remember. You heard me speak at times about an organization, Building One New Jersey, more for their fair housing, regional planning. It's interesting, this year their annual banquet is December 16th, and one of their honorees, hope I've got the name right, is James G., who happens to be, and this was said earlier, Chief of Staff to Assemblywoman Bonnie Watson Coleman, and who she said will be her Chief of Staff now that she's Congresswoman-elect, when she's Congresswoman Bonnie Watson Coleman. So she's indicated she will probably be there, and so I'm going to certainly be around there. Any one of us can go. Be nice to certainly greet her, welcome her to our congressional district, taking over from Rush Holt in January, who Mr. Congressman Holt certainly served us well, and I'm optimistic Ms. Watson Coleman will do the same. So tickets can be had through me or on Building One New Jersey website. Also, Thanksgiving's approaching. Great American tradition. It was made official by the person over my right shoulder, Abraham Lincoln, during his tenure. And hope it's a good one for everyone, not too commercialized. Hope it stays that way. And for any information official, certainly look at our website and what we have. It's very good information. For any fun, you can, and some information, you'll look at my mayor Facebook page. I try and update that with sometimes information, sometimes just fun stuff. And that concludes the mayor's report. So next we come to item number 7, deputy mayor's report. So we have Deputy Mayor Brian Regan.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you for asking our attorney to clarify the rules guiding it, because I was inadvertently congratulated based upon your election to become, people assumed that as deputy mayor I was becoming, and I had to correct them that, no, that's not the case, that the process is as it was described here. A real short deputy mayor's report tonight. First and foremost, I'd like to honor and thank our veterans in honor of Veterans Day tomorrow, the men and women who have served our country over the years and have made such a sacrifice, obviously many of them sacrificing their life for freedom. Also with that comes really the families, the spouses who remain back. Today, it in some ways, I guess, is maybe even more complicated because women, mothers, sisters go off to war. So the spouses here are not just women, they're men who are spouses, and they have to take care of their families. And obviously, families make a huge sacrifice themselves when a parent or a guardian goes off to war, to fight war. So again, our thanks to the veterans, and hopefully everybody will get a chance to take a moment tomorrow to be mindful of that and say a prayer for them and their families. And that is actually it. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you. So now we're going to come to public discussion. This is the only time in the meeting to say something of a general nature. And our policy is that everyone can speak for 5 minutes, coming up once per meeting. And if there's not yielding of time, you can take your 5 minutes. Please address all your comments to the council, and please note we're being audio and videotaped, and we're glad to hear what is on your mind. And there'll be a timer. So when 3 minutes has elapsed, you'll hear a tone. And when multiple tones go off, that means your 5 minutes has elapsed. I'll ask you to wrap up your thoughts. So is there a motion to open the meeting for public discussion?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion is carried. Meeting is open for public discussion on any item of interest, which does not have a public hearing of its own. Anyone interested in speaking, please raise your hand. When I recognize you, come to the podium and give us your name and address, please. Yes. Mr. Martin, right? Yes. Just want to make sure that that's on. No, okay. Yeah, there's a little
Oh,
switch
we've
on.
got a microphone issue.
Mike,
No.
I don't think it's on.
Hello.
Yeah, pull it up a little bit closer.
Hello.
Hi.
That's good.
Good evening, council. I'm here tonight representing 5 families in,
Your name and address to start, please.
my name is Philip Martin, 8
Lane
Old
Highway.
Lane in Somerset, section of Franklin.
Thank you.
I'm here representing 5 families on Old Lane, and I'm concerned about their health, safety. I want to ask the council a question, but I would like your permission to tell you a 30-second story before I begin. On September 10th, 1944, a huge mansion burned down in the Highwood section of in the Highwood section. Our maid discovered the fire. She was going down Easton Avenue for the mail. Flames 200 feet in the air. She screamed at the top of her lungs for my mother to call the fire department. She ran up to the mansion. She managed to save everybody's life, not only pulling people downstairs, invalids, people in their 90s, but everyone in the house. And My mother called New Brunswick Fire Department, and they said, that's Bound Brook's responsibility.
Oh, my goodness.
She called the Bound Brook Fire Department, that's New Brunswick's responsibility. 2 hours it took for the fire truck to get there. The mansion was so big, the fire had just burned down through the third floor and the part of the second floor, as well as the attic. And of course, we lost the house because of water damage, not because of the fire, because it was so big. Well, I have a similar situation today. Today, there is an access road in Highwood that connects Old Lane and Highwood Road. One person who has 75 feet on that approximately 300-foot-long access road is challenging its legality. Old Lane residents need that road for many purposes: fire truck access, water main connection when the fire pressure is not enough for fire treatment on the dead-end mains on Old Lane, connection to the township sewage when our septic start to fail. I have spoken with John House. He's very concerned, Director of Fire Prevention. I've spoken to Bob Metler. I've spoken to Councilman Ted Chase. Both of them said, you've got to find the records. I spoke to Township Engineer. They can't find the records. I spoke to Planning. They can't find the records. I spoke to Jim Pettit and Dennis Osiello. Finally, I found them myself, deep in my own file. I have all the records of all the easements for all the properties, keeping that road open. Township says that this is the state's responsibility. The state only has 75 feet of that road. The properties, the rest of it is private with these deed restrictions and easements on them. It's going to be the township's responsibility if a fire truck has to back out of Old Lane. They can't do it. It's going to be the township's responsibility if there's not enough pressure in that water main for treatment of a fire. You need to loop it to the fire line on Highwood Road in order to get that sufficient pressure. It's going to be the township's responsibility if the septics fail and we have to connect to the sewer. Councilman Phil Beecham brought the sewage system across Easton Avenue to Highwood to the western part of it. And so when our septics start to fail, we need to connect to that sewer line. And furthermore, if there's an ambulance that has to get through the Old Lane, if a tree comes down on this very narrow one-lane road, the only way to get through is on this access road. So for all of these reasons, I would hope that the town would, if there's a fatal accident on the corner of Old Lane and Highwood Road, because our visibility is 600 feet in both directions, whereas the far end of Highwood Road, the visibility is almost half a mile in one direction. It's a much safer place. So therefore, I was wondering if I could have your permission just to hand to you tonight my report
Sure.
on this problem, not for your consideration tonight, but hopefully sometime in the near future on behalf of the lives, safety, and health of the people on Old Lane.
Okay.
Certainly.
We have it.
Oh, okay. That was given to us here, huh? Okay. All right, we do have a copy. Guess that was given to us.
Oh, that's not complete, sir.
Okay.
If the township manager gave it to you, I have,
Okay. Or if you want to give your, that's fine. If you want to, you have one copy? If you want to give it to our clerk?
I have copies for everybody.
Oh, okay, go ahead. That's fine. Sure.
And thank you all very much for your consideration.
Here it is, yeah, okay. Okay. Oh, you gave it to Ms. McCarthy? Okay, she'll distribute it to us.
Okay.
Okay. All right, thanks. And Mr. Vornlocker will certainly follow up also. Okay. Thanks. Nice to see you. And it was, I think, the late 1990s, I think Mr. Martin was basically suggesting we have our open space preservation and fund before we actually implemented it, as I remember. That was very insightful of you back when that was pioneer days. So is there anyone else from the public who wishes to speak?
Mr. Mayor, upon seeing no one coming forward or raising their hand, I make a motion to close the public session.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, abstained, motion is carried. Thank you very much. we'll look into, hope you're doing well, Mr. Martin. Again, we used to see you often, unless you were always helping us make good decisions. Appreciate it. So now we come to item number 9, council comments. So I guess, okay, we'll start over here.
Okay, great. Thank you, Mr.
Councilwoman
Mayor.
Rosalind Sherman.
Thank you. I have a few items, not many. It looks like this may be an early council meeting at this rate, but that's usually the words of death. Anyway, yesterday I attended an event in Princeton for our retiring Congressman Rush Holt. It was a pleasure, as always, to be there with him. He accepted an award from Planned Parenthood for his years of service and support to women's health issues. He will be sorely missed, as was mentioned earlier. Still no comment as to what his future plans are. His comment was he's just got too many things he's interested in and probably has several offers and hasn't been able to make the decision yet. So nothing other to say that I was happy to have the opportunity, along with Councilman Chase was there actually, to see him once more before he retired. I also wanted to mention a bridge project that is in the process of looking for input. It's the bridge as you cross it's behind the mall, the strip mall, where Starbucks is on New Brunswick Road, near the traffic light. There's a bridge you probably hardly even know that there's a bridge there, but there is, and it has some structural problems, and the county was here looking for input, and there were a number of people here providing that information. It's not something that's going to happen right away. It's several years away. But once it does happen, it will cause a great deal of inconvenience for a while, because they will close down that part of New Brunswick Road where the traffic light is. So those of us, including myself, who live on the other side of that, would have to go up and around to Martino and across Treptow to get home. So not to worry right away, but it's just something, if you have any interest in providing any input, it would be to the Somerset County Division of Engineering in Somerville. And the last item I just wanted to touch base about is an article that I read in the column, I believe this is the Home News. No, this is the Star Ledger. And basically it says, the editorial, we're number one in public education. And I really have to tell you that it took me a minute to let that sink in. In fact, their first words were, let that sink in for a minute. New Jersey has the best schools in the nation. It was rated number one by the particular organization that he's the author of this, said if you're not, you don't have a lot of faith in this company, which happens to be a financial organization who is looking at the education of future entrepreneurs, then he said, consider a recent release of the Annie E. Casey Foundation Annual Kids Count Survey for 2014 that had New Jersey at number 2 in education behind Massachusetts. That's really, really good news, especially since we have been hearing all kinds of negative information about our education system, that we need to get charter schools as quickly as possible because it's failing so miserably. So somewhere there's some disinformation or there's some lack of information. I'm proud to hear that New Jersey has such a high ranking, far better than nearly every other state. So we should be very, very proud of that, and please share that good news with your neighbors and make sure we're all aware that we are very highly ranked when it comes to education. And that's my report. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Councilman Rajiv Prasad.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Well, Councilwoman Kimberly Francois and Carl Wright and I were at a Navratri Diwali dinner in Edison that we were invited to. and the whole council was, but anyway, we were the three there, and it was a good celebration that they had. Yesterday, I was at the 50th anniversary of the Somerset Presbyterian Church. Mayor had a proclamation there, and on behalf of the council, and tomorrow, of course, is Veterans Day, so I thank everyone for their service and those that are serving now. And I won't be here for the next meeting. I'll be out of the country. And our congratulations to the mayor. Thank you for your service. And the law tells you that you have to resign once you become a freeholder. That's how I wanted to clarify it. But congratulations and thank you.
Oh, thank you. Councilwoman Kimberly Francois, and thanks.
I'd also like to make a tribute to the troops who serve our country each and every day and risk their lives. And also to remember the families that make such a sacrifice. I sat here and thought today about how our country is so divided, but our troops who are brave and courageous and loyal to the country are willing to serve no matter what party the president is a part of. And I think we should just, we owe them our safety, we owe them our lives, and we should all honor them tomorrow. And I know I'm very, very grateful. And then also I would like to congratulate our mayor. It's going to be sad to see you go. I know you're a Republican, but you've always been our mayor. And I wish you very much success. And I'm certainly going to miss you. And you've done a wonderful job serving our township. How many years has it been? 12?
It's the 11th as mayor.
11 years. 11 years. So we have to have a big going away party for you. Make sure you let us know in advance when you're going to resign. Okay? Give us some notice. Okay. And certainly we'll look forward to whoever's going to try to fill in your shoes for the remainder of your term next year. Thank you for your service. I'm sad to see you go.
Thank you. You're too kind. Appreciate it. And thanks for your comments. Councilman Ted Chase.
A couple of days ago, first there was an email message from the manager that there was a major water line break in the line running south along Route 27 from the Route 518 intersection once again. And then early in the morning, there was both actually a phone call and an email message that the break had been fixed. So I think this implies that our township water department staff had been up all night fixing this break. And I commend them for their work in doing this. We are trying to replace this line so that it won't keep breaking as it does about once a year and will hold better pressure. We're having trouble with the Department of Transportation of the state, which is making unreasonable demands for us to reconstruct half the road if we do this. And Assemblyman Danielson is working on this. He says he'll let me know as soon as he gets something. And we've just got to keep putting pressure on the Department of Transportation to be reasonable and let us replace the water line in the existing trench under the shoulder of the road rather than under the travel lane, which obviously would be much more disruptive.
Yeah.
As Councilwoman Sherman mentioned, I also was at the Planned Parenthood Action Fund party honoring Congressman Holt. I also last Wednesday went to a gathering at Duke Farms put on by Somerset County Business Partnership and Duke Farms about all sorts of ways that we can try to deal with climate change, try to save energy, lower our carbon footprint. I should probably type up all my notes from that and put them out. But, thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Councilman Phil Kramer.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Congratulations to you and to all that ran. We have new BOE members, and we'll see how 4 new, well, 1 is repeating and 3 new BOE members. So we'll see how that affects our school system in regards to what Councilwoman Sherman said. Tomorrow is Veterans Day, and as a veteran, I want to say that I don't know that veterans look at that day as a day that, you know, of particular feeling of that's their day. The veterans I know are proud to have served, and I personally think it was one of the most rewarding portions of my life. The life lessons I learned from that experience are invaluable, and I recommend it highly. Israel has a requirement that everybody serves, and it's a nice thing in that everybody in the country has that thing to compare. They all have that in their lives, and it's a base point from which to work from. I'm not suggesting that we have that in this country, but I do highly recommend it to anyone who is thinking about it. You cannot conceive of the things you will learn that will help you later on in life. And that's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor Brian Regan.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I also would like to extend my congratulations to you. You know, though we're of different parties, what I find is that we haven't always agreed at times, but what I do appreciate and recognize very much is the sacrifice of time that you've put in over the years being mayor, and your family. One of those roles where many times you were out of your family, out of your household, that you missed time with your family to be at events, whether it was a ribbon cutting or whether it was given a proclamation. So that's service to the town that needs to be recognized and is recognized and appreciated. The only other thing I'd like to talk about is just on resolution, there's a resolution N, which is awarding the contract to Central Jersey Housing Resource Center for affordable resale units and assistant grant program administrative agents. Again, a wonderful organization, nonprofit, led by Sharon Clark is the executive director. They've done a tremendous job working with us in this town for giving guidance to families and mentoring for those families that are trying to find the means and the ways to purchase affordable housing. So we're gonna vote on that tonight, and I expect it to pass. But I do believe that they deserve special recognition for the work that they do for Franklin Township, on behalf of Franklin Township, for us. So thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Now, to my comments, one other event at which I attended was the last Friday Somerset County Agricultural Committee. I think I have the name slightly wrong. So several of the farmers from our town were there, and from around the state. That was from around the county, and some state officials. So that was good. I represented us, and we're certainly, I believe, one of those in the forefront, us being Franklin Township and preserving our farmland and going ahead. And that's all the comments. And thank you for everyone for the kind thoughts. Appreciate that. Mr. Vornlocker, anything you have to fill us in on to be grammatically incorrect?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Actually, no, I have nothing to report that hasn't already been discussed.
Okay, thank you. So we are now at item number 11, council discussion items, of which we do not have any this evening. So go to item number 12, approval of the minutes. The following minutes are, we have the 14th and the 28th minutes?
No, just the 28th.
Just the 28th, right? Okay, pardon me. Okay. So the following minutes are presented to the Township Council for approval. It's the Township Council work session regular meeting of October 28th, 2014, held at 7 p.m. Is there a motion for the aforesaid minutes to be approved as submitted?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Ms. McCarthy, please poll the council on approval of the minutes.
Councilman Chase?
Yes.
Councilwoman Francois?
Yes.
Councilman Kramer?
Yes.
Mayor Levine?
Yes.
Councilman Prasad?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Regan?
Yes?
Councilwoman Sherman?
Yes.
Okay, motion is carried. Next, we have warrants. Warrants are the bills that we pay. Warrants in the amount of $7,560,380.82 on November 10th, 2014 are presented to the Township Council for payment. Is there a motion to pay the warrants as read?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Madam Clerk, please poll the council on payment of the warrants.
Councilman Chase?
Yes.
Councilwoman Francois?
Yes.
Councilman Kramer?
Yes.
Mayor Levine?
Yes.
Councilman Prasad?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Regan?
Yes.
Councilwoman Sherman?
Yes.
Okay, motion is carried. Next, we have our ordinance hearing. Usually an ordinance will go into law after two votes. There's a first vote, introduction, and then generally the next meeting, there's another vote. And at that second meeting, there's a public hearing on it, meaning people can speak on that particular ordinance. If it passes that second time, then the ordinance goes into law. So we have one public hearing and adoption on second reading. This is item 14A on the agenda, ordinance number 4089-14, an ordinance amending the code of the Township of Franklin, County of Somerset, State of New Jersey. More particularly, Code Chapter 112 Land Development, Article 38, provisions applicable to Planning Board and Zoning Board of Adjustment to require submission of digital copies of application material. This is a requirement to submit items in digital form to our planning and zoning boards. It's not always necessarily the plans themselves, but all the supporting documents to be issued electronically, digitally. And this is, mostly it's aimed at the large plans where you might have 500 pages of supporting documents. That's going to save a lot of copying and printing. The Township Attorney has approved the affidavit of publication, and a public hearing is in order. Is there a motion to open the meeting for public hearing on this particular ordinance?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion is carried. Meeting is open for public hearing on this particular ordinance. Anyone interested in speaking, please raise your hand.
Mr. Mayor, upon seeing no one coming forward or raising their hand, I make a motion to close the public session on this ordinance.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion is carried. Public discussion is closed for this ordinance. Thank you. Is there a motion for final passage of the ordinance and publication in accordance with law?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Ms. McCarthy, please poll the council on item 14A, ordinance 4089-14, please.
Councilman Chase?
Yes.
Councilwoman Francois?
Yes.
Councilman Kramer?
Yes.
Mayor Levine?
Yes.
Councilman Prasad?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Regan?
Yes.
Councilwoman Sherman?
Yes.
Motion is carried. Next, we have item 15, ordinances on introduction and first reading. We do not have any this evening. That brings us to item number 16, our consent agenda, neatly A through Z. And the consent agenda are items of a basically routine nature that can be voted on at one time. It's any council person's prerogative to pull something off for a separate vote or have a discussion on it. So these items, 16A through 16Z, as listed on the consent agenda portion of this meeting are presented to the Township Council for adoption. Is there a motion for the consent agenda? Discussion?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Madam Clerk, please poll the council on the consent agenda.
Councilman Chase,
Yes.
Councilwoman Francois,
Yes.
Councilman Kramer,
Yes.
Mayor Levine,
Yes.
Councilman Prasad,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Regan,
Yes.
Councilwoman Sherman.
Yes.
Okay, motion is carried. Next, we have 17 resolutions voted on separately, which we do not have any today. So we go to old business, 2014 board and commission vacancies. Are there any nominations?
Mr. Mayor.
Yes, Councilman Kramer, please.
So I actually was going to have a nomination for Advisory Board of Health, but as it turns out, the clerk handed us or sent out a nice summary of openings, and there is no opening,
There's one.
not according to what you sent out.
Okay,
There was only a student opening on what you sent out.
okay. There should, well, then it's missing. There is one opening that expires at the end of this year.
Okay, then I have to get that person's name. It's going to take me a moment. What I will discuss, though, prior to that is the Advisory Board of Health actually went from famine to feast in that not only is there another person applying, but there's other people who additionally want to be on. And the, one second. So what the Advisory Board of Health has done is requested that there be alternate members allowed to the Board of Health, which would require an ordinance change, if I'm not correct. This way, when there's a lack of people, then we can advance people relatively quickly, have people involved. I'm looking at the attorney, and is that true?
The answer is, you can only have alternates if it's permitted by ordinance, and you can only have alternates if the state statute that provides for the establishment of an advisory board allows for the appointment of alternates. So we'll check, and if there is, then obviously it's just an ordinance amendment.
Okay. I unfortunately am not able to come up with that name because when I saw that it wasn't on the list, that I didn't look up the name of the person who is applying. So I guess that can wait till the next meeting. That's all I had, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Any other nominations? Okay, I'm going to list, there's the person who was president of the library board moved out of town, so that left a vacancy. So I'll give him my new appointment there, and Ms. McCarthy will distribute the letter. It's, his name is Nabil Choueiri, Choueiri. He's a resident of town for many years, former coach of track at Franklin High School, former Olympic athlete himself, and he's been around town, so he'll be our new addition.
Great.
And so then we go to item number
Mr.
19.
Mayor?
Oh, Council, sorry.
Thank you for that delay. It allowed me to find the name.
Okay, okay.
Charlotte
Need
Ship.
another appointment for something else, I'll go with something else.
So for Advisory Board of Health, I'd like to nominate Charlotte Shipley. Her name has been submitted to the clerk, and it's actually Mr. LaCourte who has brought this name before me. So Charlotte Shipley.
Do we have her resume?
It is, I am told that her name went in to the, did you receive a thing for her?
If it was supposed to be here within the last week or so, no.
No,
I think I
it
saw
was
it.
2 months ago.
Then it went out to whatever I've gotten. I've given to you at prior meetings. It would have been attached to a prior agenda.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I've seen it.
No, I think I've seen it.
I've made mistakes in my life, though, but I think I have. Okay.
It's just if it's 2 months ago, none of us have immediate recall.
So we do have an opening on the Advisory Board of Health, is that what we determined?
Correct, there's one opening.
So Councilman, that's a nomination for Ms. Charlotte Chipley for that spot?
Yes.
Okay. Any other nominations for that? Okay. All in favor of Ms. Charlotte Chipley for Advisory Board of Health for the vacant seat by acclamation, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion is carried. Thank you very much, Ms. Shipley, for serving our town. Any other nominations? Okay, now go to item number 19, executive session, which we do not have this evening. Okay, which brings us to item number 20, adjournment. Anyone who wants to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Okay, I'll take that as move in second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? We are adjourned.
Look at that.
Have a good
And
one.
the